3 of the Western Conference Semifinal. From Seattle, the world champion Portland Trail Blazers and the SuperSonics are tied at a game apiece.
The NBA on CBS. Today's playoff game is sponsored by Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. Ryder Truck Rental, the best truck money can rent. And by all the new 1978 Chevrolets, now at your Chevy dealers everywhere.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger with Rick Berry. 9:50 to go, first quarter. Portland has just taken the lead on a Johnny Davis jump shot. Lionel Hollins also with a field goal. Gus Williams with all 3 of Seattle's points, and Williams with the ball. Jack Sikma has 1 foul against him. Johnny Davis has 1 foul against him. Dennis Johnson has 1 foul against him. And now Maurice Lucas has just picked up a foul. And Rick, both teams appear just a bit tense so far.
Well, they're tense, Brent, but they're also very, very energetic out there, playing with a lot of confidence. I think the Seattle team is. As Jack Sikma hits that jump shot, and he was a big factor in the first ball game. Didn't do much in the second ball game. We're going to have to watch him as Johnny Davis shoots one up.
The whistle was blown by Earl Strom off on the side away from the shot that time. Now team fouls, 2 against the Sonics and 2 against the Blazers, and John Johnson picks that one up.
And of course we have to bring up the important fact Bill Walton is out with a broken bone in his foot and will not see any more action.
And so, Rick, Tom Owens, 25, is the man in the hole. Marvin Webster is watching him. Here's Tom outside on Webster. Now a couple of changes. Lenny Wilkins closed his practice yesterday for the first time this season. He worked on that jump switching defense that Portland likes. John Johnson coming down the line, and it'll stay in the possession of the Sonics. The other thing he worked upon, Rick Berry has already informed you about. Jack Sikma must touch the basketball more. This is a guard-oriented team. Here's one of the fine guards. Gus Williams, and at his offense, they'll come back the other way.
That's the type of defense that won the game for Portland in the second half. As we watch Johnny Davis playing Gus Williams, 2 exceptionally fast players. He's moving right with him. Gus leaned the right shoulder into him, picking up the offensive foul on that play.
Steele gives to Hollins on the cut, and they wanted the open man Davis.
Davis had an opening to the basket on that play, Brent. He elected to pull outside. Hollins anticipated the easy shot. Davis looking for the jumper.
Seattle won the first game of this series in Portland by 9. Then Friday night, it was a gutty effort by the Trailblazers without Walton in the second half. They evened the series, winning by 3, and the officials are blowing them tight at the start of this game. Friday night's contest was very physical.
And here we go right here. You can see the movement right there. The contact right there initiated by Larry Steele with the body. Good call by the officials. They're going to keep this game clean, and I think that's the way you should officiate playoff games.
Ramsey down on one knee. Williams, pull up. And there's the loose ball foul. It'll go to Portland.
Brent talked to Jack Ramsey before the game. He feels that they have got to play 48 minutes of basketball like they played the second half in Portland the other night. Whether or not the players can do that from a physical and mental standpoint remains to be seen, but they are being aggressive and they have to be careful of the fouls.
Davis outside. Webster. Outlet to Johnson in the middle. He's playing with 2 fouls, and he traveled. He took the extra step, lost his control as he looked around for a receiver. 6'5" Blazers.
Watch it right here. Here he goes. He's looking for a man, doesn't see him, makes the move there, and that is the walk.
So Walton's left foot in a cast. Broke a bone on the outside of the left ankle. Believed to have been broken during the game Friday night in the first half. Hollins down low, up on Dennis Johnson. Sikma cleans up. Owens is back, awaits Johnson. Pull up by Dennis. Webster is there. Missed on his first tap, but he'll hit the foot.
I saw the last play. Lionel Hollins grabbed his leg. Looks like he may have had a slight pull in his thigh muscle, Brent.
Lucas, and he has drawn the second foul from young Jack Sikma as you look at another member of the Portland Trail Blazers out with an injury. Bobby Gross.
Here's the play here. Now watch. Good pump fake by Maurice. Gets Sikma in the air, right into him. Good call by the officials. Of course, as a defensive player, the one thing you never want to do is commit yourself and leave your feet.
The foul problem will be critical, particularly for Portland. They are down to 9 healthy men. Jack Ramsey will substitute today, according to fouls. Lloyd Neal is his backup. Lucas did not hit that free throw.
That is a penalty situation. The Sonics already with 7:40 to go in this quarter have 5 team fouls, 3 for the Blazers. As we pointed out, the fouls are being called very quickly in this ball game. That sets the tone, Brent. Keeps the game honest. The players will adjust to the way the officials are calling the game.
Davis out on Williams, trying to get Seattle from setting up their offense low to the hoop. Webster dueling Owens. Owens trying to front him. Webster's behind, and Lucas comes over. Now here's the final score earlier. Washington beating San Antonio by 3 points. So the Bullets now lead it 3-1. Philadelphia will meet the winner of that series as they eliminated the Knicks in 4 straight, 112-107. That's 2 fouls on number 20, Maurice Lucas.
And he was upset by that. He did an excellent job of weak side defense coming over to get in Marvin Webster's way, but moved underneath him on the shot.
7-1 center who has not been that tough at the free throw line in the first 2 games of the series. It's his first one. Whether or not he let down in the second half or got tired is a matter of speculation. But he was not as strong against Tom Owens as he was against Bill Walton in the first half Friday night. Lucas looking for a receiver. We're tied at 8. Here's Owens. Shot clock down inside at 10 seconds. Hollins batted back up and out of bounds, and it'll go now to the Sonics.
And that is not the type of basketball Jack Ramsey wants. That is not a good Portland Blazers shot. They like to get more of that penetration and cutting to the basket, get inside. That time Lionel Hollins had to take a difficult turnaround jump shot.
David Twardzik checks in. He is one of those players who is hurt by the absence of Bill Walton. His game on the offense depends so much on cutting and getting open, and no one can pick up a receiving guard like Bill Walton. That's where Portland will suffer without the redhead. Lucas gambled and got out, and this time it's Owens coming over to help out. Good defense, and Webster muscles up. Now the Blazers come back. Steele to Hollins. 6:45, first quarter. Hollins slows now, and from the corner, Larry Steele is off Gus Williams. It's 3-on-2, and Steele is back in a hurry. They've turned it over, and he loses Johnson.
The transition hurt the Blazers a great deal in the first ball game. Also hurt them in the other game. They were fortunate enough to win. That time, another easy basket would have been available for the Sonics had they been able to handle that pass. They must get back quicker. Picture of me be better.
All right, next Sunday, 3-on-3. One team, Pete Maravich, Billy Cunningham, and LeVar Burton. And who did they take on? Rick Barry, Lenny Wilkins, and Kent McCord. Big McCord, you guys ought to be favored by 15 there in that game, Rick.
You don't know what you're talking
Can't
about.
you handle Maravich? Well, that show premiered today, and I understand it was a success. And next week, 3-on-3, half-court basketball on CBS, and then the NBA doubleheader. Owens behind Webster to the hole, and Tom stays right with it.
That's the type of penetration that hurts so much. You get by that defense in the middle.
Williams taking it alone, one-on-one. The guard-oriented team. 10-8, Blazers up by 2, and here's Twardzik off the steal, and back it goes to David. Johnson on the switch. Hollins outside. Dennis Johnson with a hand, and Hollins got that pretty shot up over it. It's a 4-point lead by the champion.
And Lenny Wilkins is up off the bench. He does not like what is happening out there. He's a little upset by the officials. I don't know why.
Maybe he's trying to arouse this squad a little bit, Rick. Johnson up on Steele, a tendency to get somewhat overconfident when you're playing against a team which has lost its big star. Twardzik now in the middle. Twardzik off to Hollins again. Spun out and Sikma. It'll be 4-on-5. John Johnson lacing up a sneaker at the other end, now coming back. Webster outside on Owens, and Lucas had Sikma cleaned up.
Seattle's not executing their offense well at all. 2 tough shots from the outside, no ball movement, no personnel movement.
Lucas, and that is one of his strengths. He's powerful underneath. But when Luke warms up, he can drill from the perimeter. Now, he didn't do that late in the season, but he seems to be regaining his touch. Now he's fronting Sikma. He knows they're going to want to go to Jack.
And the reason his shooting suffered, Brian mentioned the other night, is the fact, as Paul Silas comes to the game, Maurice fell down and hurt his wrist. And when your wrist is sore, that's a very important part of shooting in this game.
Freddie Brown, instant offense, number 32, is also in the game. Sikma and Dennis Johnson will be out. So John Johnson and Freddie Brown, former teammates at Iowa. Brown with the screen, and Johnson with a miss, and again it is Big Luke down there. It's a 14-8 Portland lead. Out of bounds on the turnover go to the Sonics. They're home white. And, of course, next Friday night, 11:30 Eastern Time. Our coverage of the NBA playoffs continues on CBS. And then the doubleheader on Sunday. Here comes Gus Williams. 31 points Friday night in Portland. Webster goes down and Owens is muscling him. Lucas now fronting him. They would like Silas to shoot. He's hitting 28% in 2 games. On the turnover, Sonics are sloppy. Hollins on the lead.
That was just a bad pass by Marvin Webster. Good defense by Portland. Easy basket. And they want a timeout. Lenny Wilkins is up. The Sonics are not playing good basketball. The Blazers are taking over where they left off the other night. And they must do something, the Sonics that is, if they expect to win this basketball game.
Graciously, they had moved their game to Tuesday night, 7:30 against the Chicago.
Against Marvin Webster regular season games, Tom Owens averaged 17 points, hit 63% from the floor, and pulled down 7 rebounds. So Owens played extremely well offensively, and he's off to a strong start here. Now it's Webster.
Brendan, I think everybody's been talking about how the Sonics should be favored now. I think they may think that themselves, and they have to go out there and play. They just can't do it on anticipation.
Freddie Brown. And the foul is called underneath. Freddie was coming back up with the shot. Jack Ramsey's turn to be unhappy on the Blazers sideline. First foul against Twardzik. 4:09, both teams in the penalty. Ramsey squawking. He's back to his colorful pants. He was much more conservative Friday night. Oh, there's a man who's worked hard this year, Ron Culp. And a shot of the assistant coach, Jack McKinney. A lot of talk that Jack McKinney might become the head coach at Kansas City next year. And if not Kansas City, some year Jack McKinney will indeed be a head coach in the NBA. Deserves a chance. The players respect him a lot. 16-10 right now. Blazers over the Sonics. Twardzik and Hollins. Lucas, Owens, and Steele on the floor for the champions. Lob to Maurice.
Great backdoor play. Maurice came up, got his defensive man out of position, and a fine lob.
3:50 to go in the first. And Portland, as Rick has told you, has come on just as they finished up Friday night. Again, Seattle standing around. Webster holding the ball. Shot clock down to 5. No movement, no open men. Williams will put one up with 3 seconds. They got a break. Saved it, Rick, but that was not a good offensive basketball.
No, it certainly wasn't, Brent. They weren't moving that basketball. Nobody was getting open. They had to go one-on-one.
Inside to Steele as he crashes to the glass. Off with the miss. Sonics will try to run 2 in a row. Twardzik with Williams. It'll be Gus again outside. And there's Silas' strength. But the shot won't stay down, and there was a whistle. Foul going against Portland, as you could see.
Let's watch the play again. Here it comes off the board. Tall Silas. Can't jump. Doesn't move that well, but boy, can he rebound. There he goes. He gets it up. Comes back down off the board. And the foul
on
Owens, pushing off.
His first, Rick. And that, of course, is the one statistic that Ramsey will carefully eye.
Exactly. They cannot afford to lose Tom Owens. He would then be forced probably to come in with Lloyd Neal in the center position.
Right. And then he said he would also consider using Lucas a bit at center. He would go both ways depending on how the game unfolds. So it's 3 minutes, and it's 18-14. Sonics have eased back to within 4. Owens. Whistle again. So Rush and Strom are keeping a tight hold.
And that is 3 fouls on Maurice Lucas.
And Lucas is upset.
And a timeout's being called, and you can see Maurice.
He is really hot him because he's volatile. He goes down now and relaxes. He knows how important he is. So it's 18-14 with 2:52 to go in the first quarter from Seattle. And a program reminder next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular. We've got a trio of outstanding events. The British World Invitational Gymnastics Championships. We'll also have the World Freestyle Skiing Challenge along with the Off-Road Race of Champions. So that is next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
No problem with him. Just don't let him get to the board. Nice pressure his pass, but once he receives it, drop back off, especially play in front of the post man, so he can't run their post play. Keep your ball movement going, keep your player movement going. We're going to get baseline cutter, lane cutter, or rub off man in the throw. Move forward. Move forward. You got to block out of the defensive board so we'll get him coming over the top. You got to make contact with the defensive board. You guys are running. That defense with the shotgun.
Well, you're hearing Jack Ramsey, Brent, and the big thing that he's pointing out is to move the ball on offense. That is where Portland usually excels, moving the ball, and also blocking the men out you heard him talking about. Seattle's been able to get 3 or 4 offensive rebounds, and that has hurt them so far in this basketball game. And he wants to run the 5 play also, and we'll see what the 5 play is.
Talking about rebounds, Rick, Webster has pulled down 7 for Seattle, and Lucas 6.
And I think 3 of those 7 for Marvin have been off of the offensive boards.
Silas at the free throw line. It's a 4-point Blazer lead, 2:52 to go. Washington a winner. Philadelphia advances, eliminating the Knicks. Milwaukee and Denver just underway. We'll keep you up to date on that game. Missed his free throws.
So Lloyd Neal trying to do the job for Maurice Lucas, and that could be a very big factor in this game, Maurice having to go to the bench early.
Neal is 36, handling the ball for the first time. Here is Owens. Neal looks for his spot at the top of that circle. Webster with his 8th rebound, and he yanked it. Williams. Hollins goes with him, and Williams is so quick. Got over, and Hollins fouled him, and Maurice watches the action.
And so we go to the free throw line again. That penalty situation ever so costly. Aggressive defense resulting in fouls on the part of the Blazers. The one thing that Jack Ramsey was so concerned about before the ball game. They must play aggressive to win, but they must not foul doing that, and that's a very difficult task.
It's a 3-point Blazer lead as Lenny Wilkins' team slowly pulls up. Now it's 2. And Gus Williams has scored 7 points in the first quarter. We've got 2:24. Wally Walker front steal and takes him out as he wanted backdoor. Neal comes down the baseline. Williams. It'll go to Portland. Welcome those of you watching Denver, Milwaukee. Here in Seattle, 2:11 left in the first quarter. Portland with an early lead, and Seattle slowly coming back. And of course, you know the big story. Bill Walton is not here. Broken bone, left ankle in a cast, out the rest of the season. The Blazers have played confidently and well. Hollins hit and fouled as Freddie Brown jumps out and hits him. Pleads his case to Earl Strom, but the decision will not be changed. It is 20-16. It's a 4-point Portland lead with just 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Both teams are in the penalty situation, and Corky Calhoun will check in for Jack Ramsey's Blazers with Larry Steele going out. Hollins can make it 5 points. 2 minutes left in the first quarter, 20-16, make it 21-16 Blazers. Hollins pressuring Freddie Brown. They want him over here at the sideline, an extra defensive man. Silas far out from the basket. He can't help Seattle out there. His strength's on that offensive glass, in tight. Wally Walker moves it to Paul. Rolls up the hook shot.
I don't think they're too worried about that shot, Brent. Paul Silas hooking from almost 15 feet. I think they'll let him take that shot all night.
Seattle wanted traveling as Neal coughed it up and then regained it. Owens jump shot left baseline. Silas off with the rebound.
Tom rushing himself just a little on his shot. He's got to take his time a little more.
Williams coming in, whistle blown as he went to dish off. So Gus Williams is attracting traffic down there as he comes to the basket.
This is Gus's type of game, Brent. When they miss those shots and take the fast shots down there, this is what Jack was concerned about. It enables Sonics to get that breaking situation up the floor, and if Gus gets in that type of a game, he is really at his best. He uses his exceptional quickness, his ball handling ability and that's the way he likes to play.
And the Sonics are coming back at the free throw line.
Let's see if we can pick up the foul. Here's Gus. You see the good hesitation move. He cuts across. There's Twardzik down low. They call the foul on that play for Twardzik pushing off, but I don't think it was a good call. He took his hand off as soon as he went up in the air, and there was a gift that time for the Sonics.
Owens now. Seattle is 10 of 14 at the free throw line as Hollins hits the field goal. Sonics come back. Twardzik watching Gus. Williams just pulls it up after eluding him, and Webster crashed into Twardzik. Twardzik goes down. Webster controls. Freddie Brown outside. Twardzik got right back up and got position. Now he comes down with the ball. 40 seconds. It's a three-point Blazer lead. Into Hollins, who's hit 2 quick field goals. 13 points in the first quarter for Lionel Hollins, who before the game said, hey, say hello to all my friends in Las Vegas and tell them I'm going to light things up. And Jimmy the Greek says hello, and he'll be on at halftime. Webster with Owens on it. Freddie Brown goes to the right, and Williams. And here's Wally Walker, formerly of Portland. Look at Twardzik seal Silas off underneath.
It shows you what a little man can do if he concentrates on his job, Brent.
Here is Neal, gave it up on a turnover to Williams. Now it's 3-on-1. It's time. They won't get it off. They did not get the last shot off. The end of the first quarter. And the Portland Trailblazers hold off Seattle without Bill Walton. It's a 5-point Blazer lead. We'll be right back. Philadelphia won today, 112-107. Washington beat San Antonio 98-95. How about Denver and Milwaukee? Let's go to Tim Ryan and Steve Jones for an update.
Just joined us here in Milwaukee. The Bucks are in white. The Nuggets are in blue, and it is 32-29. Milwaukee leading it. They're down 2 games to none in this series. Lloyd Walton in the backcourt, number 11 for Milwaukee. To Junior Bridgman. Marcus Johnson at the top of the key. Good pass to Bridgman, can't make it. Rebounded by Anthony Roberts. Ralph Simpson up. Simpson gets his second basket. 32-31. Milwaukee leads by 1. Junior Bridgman. 34-31. Milwaukee with a 3-point lead. 9:15 remaining in the half.
Back in Seattle, you did not miss a point. Portland with control and a 5-point lead, 25-20. 11 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the first half. In that first quarter, Seattle, we've got a foul. Seattle hit only 19% from the field. Portland 47%. But Rick, the free throw line, Seattle outscored Portland 10-3, and that really kept them in it.
No question about that, Brent. Those penalty situations can really help a team stay in the ball game or put a ball game away. They have to be careful, the Blazers, getting into foul trouble. 2 on Brown, 2 on John Johnson, and 2 on Sikma, who's back for Seattle. Twardzik maneuvering. How tall as he tried to come up. He really amazes me. When I first saw him coming to the league, I said, how can this guy be in the league? I mean, he's so small. Watch him here, how he penetrates. Uses his quickness, his little body, takes that big step to snipe in between the two fellows, gets hit on the body, picks up the chance to go to the free throw line. And he's a fine ball player, and it just shows you that the little boys out in America, you still have hope.
And he almost drew the 3rd foul on Sikma. It's charged to Walker, number 1, but Jack was there also.
Yes, and of course Maurice back in the ball game. He has got to be extremely careful with 3 fouls. Jack Ramsey gambling a little bit at this stage.
Neal will go with Sikma right now, and Lucas with Silas. That's the defensive matchup. Strawn picks up the foul. Twardzik against Dennis Johnson, and Ramsey and McKinney are protesting.
Watch. There we see him going with the body, making the contact, bumping.
2 fouls on Twardzik, Rick. Sikma wants it on Lloyd Neal. A turnaround is short. Off Calhoun. He and Walker dueling, and the ball was out of bounds. It'll go to Portland.
The intensity on the part of both teams very high at this stage of the ball game. Very important game for both clubs. Blazers, of course, must win a game up here in Seattle. Seattle wanting to take advantage of the home court.
Calhoun, not necessarily his spot either. And coming back, Lionel Hollins in a foul that he knows was not an intelligent move. It's his second.
And see what happens when you take poor percentage shots. That was not a good shot by Corky Calhoun, way out of position. Lionel gambling for the steal, whacks him on the bottom of the arm. Lionel picking up his second personal foul, second team foul. And as you pointed out, Brett, you can see the reaction on his face. When he did it, he says, oh no, how can I be so stupid?
Sure, he knew it right away. Silas at the line. It's his first after missing a couple in the first quarter. Threw in that rolling hook shot.
Both teams, Brent, right now, not really executing that well as far as their offense. Everybody taking some tough shots, and they're going to have to settle down. The team that settles down first may very well be the one that wins this game.
Sikma running down the missed free throw. Walker out of bounds, so Sikma puts a running move on, and Neal powerfully coming in for that rebound, and pushing is going to be called now against Seattle.
This is quite a contrast to the ball game the other night, where a lot more contact was being allowed. The officials here are not taking any chances of this ball game getting out of hand.
3 on Sikma and 3 on Lucas. So Rush and Strom have taken charge of this game. And that is going to influence strategy. Hollins goes to Corky. Off, fired quickly on the turnaround. Freddie Brown comes down. Marvin Webster will soon check back in for Lenny Wilkins. The 27-21 Blazers.
The ineffectiveness of Seattle to run their offense is showing in their shooting percentage. They are going one-on-one, and they are hitting a terrible percentage. They're not getting good movement, and they're not getting open shots.
Shot clock down to 5. Seattle must hurry. 3 seconds. Dennis Johnson with 2 left. Hit it outside.
Again, Brent, he had to force up a shot with a man all over him. They got a break. The ball went in the basket for him, but it could have easily been off.
Lucas picking down underneath. Twardzik with control. Calhoun pops out and Lucas comes high. Calhoun rotates the funnel. Neal, turnaround on Sikma, use the glass.
Jack has a bad habit. He takes that fake almost all of the time. He got himself going up on his toes again. He was out of position, enabling Lloyd to get the shot off.
They get Brown over here to this sideline, exactly where they want him. Silas in the middle. Now Brown comes down baseline into Hollins. Blocking is called, and that is a key foul. 3 on Lionel Hollins.
Let's watch this. This is a very crucial play right now. 3 fouls on Lionel Hollins. You see him going, making a move. There he is standing. He was moving his right foot. Freddie initiated the contact. Tough call. Brent, I have to point this out. This is a very big play as far as the Blazers are concerned. The 3rd foul on Lionel Hollins. You can see now he is stationary. His right foot is on the floor. He had picked it up to his toe. He's got good position. Freddie Brown jumping into him is initiating the contact. Now, after the contact, he moves his leg, but the contact was initiated by Fred jumping into him. That's the most difficult play to call in the game of basketball. A big break for the SuperSonics on that play.
And we have 3 players with 3 fouls. Hollins and Lucas for Ramsey's Trailblazers, and for Wilkins Sonics, young Jack Sikma. Brown with 2 and Twardzik with 2. And there are the 3 who face early trouble. 8:55 to go in the first half. At halftime, Jimmy the Greek live here in Seattle. Red Auerbach on round ball. And here is Freddie Brown shooting against the Blazers with Lionel Hollins getting a break. Davis, Steele, Calhoun, Owens, and Lucas. So Steele will go into that backcourt right now. He'll work with Davis. And Hollins out as Ramsey wants the taller guard. On the turnover, Sonics come back. They've trailed all the way, down by 4 right now.
There's an error that time by Corky Calhoun. He anticipated the back door. You must wait till the man makes the move before you throw the ball there in that play.
Walker. So here's another player whom Lenny Wilkins felt did not shoot enough Friday night in Portland. Lucas goes into Owens. Owens waits for Davis, and Webster jumps out. Brown cuts it off. Good defense by Freddie. He was going to be in a mismatch against Owens. Went aggressive to the ball. Comes around Webster. Davis is there. Dennis Johnson. Seattle starting to play with a little verve here right now. Shot clock inside of 10, but pushing off his called offense as Walker was maneuvering. And Wilkins unhappy again.
That was a good call by the officials, Brent. Had a good angle on that play. There's no question Wally Walker pushed off.
2-point Blazer lead in 7 minutes and 55 seconds to go in the first half. Off Owens on the turnover.
That's 3 straight turnovers now for the Blazers. You cannot afford to do that, especially when you're on the road. You have got to get a chance to make a basket by taking a shot.
Lucas watching Webster, not letting him come through the key area. Now he's got to go over, and Marvin immediately rotates off to Johnson. There's Steele with possession. Now let's see if Portland can get off a shot, Rick. They will not, because Jack Ramsey says we'll call a timeout and we'll talk about how to get off a shot since we're having trouble. Blazers lead it by 2 right now, 7:26. Next Friday night, more NBA playoff action, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Rick, Seattle would be in deep trouble without that foul shooting. There's an 8-point difference, 13-5 at that free throw line. Trail it by 2 and the Blazers with possession. And they must execute a little bit better. As we mentioned, they had 3 straight turnovers. Let's see what Jack Ramsey has them doing here. Steele up on Walker. Got the shot and made it pay a dividend. So back to 4. Brown, Dennis Johnson, Webster, Silas, and Walker on the floor. Walker cuts out. Double screen on the other side, on the weak side right now. Steele watching Wally Walker. There go to Fred Brown. Shot clock inside 10. Down the hole comes Brown. Owens gives Seattle but 1 shot. Hollins looks up floor. Seattle's back on defense. One thing they don't get with Walton is that many layups. Fast break opportunities. He leads that outlet pass so well. Brown from the corner, trailing by 4. Jack Ramsey going all out, has 2 very key men in the game with 3 fouls. Webster picks on Hollins. Silas rolls up another hook. 2 running hook shots for Paul. Well, that was more of Paul's shot. That shot was a lot closer than the one he made almost out near the free throw line. You can't give him that one in close. Davis pull up and Brown fouled him. 3 fouls on Freddie Brown. Here's the play right now. You see right there, Freddie got a little arm on him. Didn't get called for the foul there. He goes up for the shot. He's a little late. He reaches over. Catches him on the forearm portion of the arm. And the fact that Fred did not discuss it with the official leads me to believe that he committed the foul, Brent. Rick, in that first quarter, Lionel Hollins scored 13 for the Blazers and Gus Williams 9 for the Sonics. Williams has not played, but Hollins has not scored again here in the second quarter. It's 32-29, Blazers in 6:12 left in the first half. Blazers not shooting very good from the free throw line in the few opportunities that they have had. Hollins missed 2 right in the beginning of the game. Hollins trying to front Webster, and he tried a little bit too hard. 2 fouls on Tom Owens. Here's the play here. You see him fighting for position right there. They try to throw the ball in. I didn't see too much of a push there, Brent. DJ off, and Silas seals Owens, but Portland still got to it. Hollins lead to the corner to Steele, back to Davis. They work that play with Steele trying to pull the defensive man over to the corner. Cross court, Walker. Back to Silas, charges in. Pressure now by Freddie Brown in 5:30, and the Sonics pulled it within 1 point. Again, the transition hurting Portland. Shot clock to 10. Traveling. The Sonics can take over. And the presence of Marvin Webster caused that walking violation. He showed himself even though he committed. Davis couldn't get the shot off. And Twardzik will come back in the game. And he was a very, very instrumental player when Portland took that early lead. Davis goes out. And Davis became a starter. Twardzik has suffered through a succession of injuries. He's out there now working with Hollins and 5:15 to go. Sonics shoot for the lead. Williams also back in. Silas waits for an open man. It's Walker. It's off, and Dennis Johnson jumping up and into it out. It'll go now to Portland. Out of bounds. Inside of 5 minutes. And you pointed out, Brent, the Blazers game coming mostly from the outside. They just do not get those cuts to the basket without Big Bill in the game. Here's the perimeter game right now. And it'll be Owens at the perimeter. That's a shot he can shoot. That time he got the ball. He had the opening. Took his time. As I mentioned earlier, he was rushing a few shots. And when Tom does that, it throws off his timing. Bruce Fields, who did not play Friday night, will soon check in for Lenny Wilkins. Webster, Owens with a hand on him. Shot clock inside of 10. Seattle taking a lot of time when they come down. Turnaround is off. Steele gives to Twardzik.
I know it sounds like a broken record, but again, that's one-on-one basketball. Sonics are not moving the ball.
Blazers determined on defense. They've got them back in it Friday night. Bounce right to Lucas, and Owens missed the layup. Tap back. Williams. He'll run it down. Dennis Johnson's ahead of him, but he traveled as he tried to regain control of the ball coming up on his leg. It's a 3-point Blazer lead. 4 minutes in the first half.
Well, here's Gus going after the basketball. You see him right there. He loses it off his leg, picks it up again, starts to dribble. That's where the violation occurred.
Into Owens. In the hole. Lucas. Lucas stayed right with it. Bounce off the Sonics. Here's Seals and Silas. Goes back to Webster. Waits for Williams, who's got an alley. That fouled as he came down, but he had daylight on that left side. And, well, we've come to the free throw line. Let's go now to Milwaukee. An update from Tim Ryan.
Welcome to the fans that have just joined us here. We have 1:21 now remaining in the first half. With the score, Milwaukee 51, the Nuggets 47. The Bucks are in white, the Nuggets are in blue. Tim Ryan and Steve Jones here in Milwaukee. And it's been a well-played first half by both teams. David Thompson has only 5 points, and that's a little unusual for the scoring machine. Buckner, he's been a hot hand, but can't make that one. Simpson rebounding. It's Thompson. Thompson keeps it alive. And it's good from Mac Calvin. What a move by Thompson, who just nearly lost the ball out of bounds, but kept it alive for the Nuggets.
Fouled. Second personal over the limit. Mac Calvin at the line.
Owens hitting from the corner for Portland has made it 36-33. You missed a couple of free throws by Gus Williams to put Seattle at 33. And Gus stays with it. On the turnaround, he has pulled the Sonics to within 1. So Gus Williams, 9 in the first quarter, 13 for the game as he reels off 4 points. A 1-point contest. Portland in its traveling dark uniform. Steele comes inside of Steele. Steele just left him open, and Larry Steele took the one quick step to the basket and was off.
Yes, and there was not very good help from the weak side, enabling Steele to get a clear path all the way to the hoop.
Here's Webster, 2:32 to go first half. Whistle had sounded as Webster came up on Owens.
And a foul on Dave Twardzik holding underneath the basket. That is going to be his third personal foul. It will be the penalty situation, and again, the Sonics will be to the free throw line, and it has hurt them.
Jimmy the Greek, Red Auerbach, and John Havlicek talking to Billy Cunningham, all coming up at halftime. Cunningham's 76ers eliminate the New York Knicks 4 in a row, and the 76ers will play the winner of the Washington-San Antonio series with the Bullets in command, leading 3-1.
And of course, when I said that going to the free throw line has hurt them, I was referring to Portland and not Seattle. It's been a real blessing for Seattle. As Paul Silas gets ready to go to the free throw line, let's take a look at the foul on Twardzik. Down at the bottom of your screen, the left-hand corner, the little fellow with the natural hairdo. You see Silas trying to break through as Webster has the ball right here. He just out-and-out grabs Paul Silas, and the official's right on the play.
Rick, Paul Silas has contributed quite a bit today coming off the bench. That's his 8th point. Now, he hasn't shot well until this game.
Well, that's true, Brent, and also he has been in there a long time because Jack Sikma has 3 fouls. Lenny Wilkins going with the experience. Even though Paul does not shoot well from the outside, he still does a lot of things out there to help his ball club.
On the floor for the Blazers, Davis, Hollins, Neal, Owens, and Steele now goes back to forward. Owens back to Steele. That, of course, just graphically illustrates the difference in the Blazers' offense. And Dennis Johnson follows up Williams. It's no rap against Tommy Owens, but he simply doesn't hit the cutter as well as Walton. But he can do some other things, so I don't want someone to think that we're just putting a young man down. 1:59 to go. Davis now pull-up shot outside. Marvin Webster. Sonics fans come alive. They can smell it. Tied at 38. Johnson for the lead, and there was a whistle. Davis underneath, and Ramsey knows that he's reached the moment of crisis. Lucas on the bench with those 3 fouls.
I think Maurice is all upset, Rick. Again, the transition hurting him. Davis with a quick shot from the outside, something Jack would rather not see. They get the rebound, Marvin that is, sweeping him off up the floor. They get an easy basket, or an easy opportunity, I should say, and they get to the free throw line on the missed shot by Dennis Johnson, who makes the first free throw. And the free throw line is really going to haunt the Trailblazers in this game. Pointed out earlier, Brett, that was what Jack was so worried about, and he had good reason to be worrying about it.
They've hit 18. There's the whistle again, blown by Ed Rush. Let me get to that statistic right now, Rick. 18 of 24. Seattle is hitting at the free throw line, and Portland 6 of 10. 12-point difference right now, and the Sonics up by 2.
And they will get a chance right now to go to the line for 2 more.
We welcome now the Denver-Milwaukee crowd to our game at Seattle. Larry Steele of the world champion Portland Trailblazers has just tied the game at 40. A minute 39 to go in the first half. Seattle has come back at the free throw line, outscoring Portland 18-8 right now for a 10-point margin. The Sonics have Webster, Silas, Williams, Seals, and Dennis Johnson. Seals is a little short. Hollins backing up into Johnson. Johnson trying to reach over on him.
You see what happens when teams take poor shots. Bruce Seals taking a quick shot from almost 20 feet from the basket. Not a very good shot in that situation. And we'll take a look at it right here. Now here's the shot. Now look how far out from the basket he is. He's taking a shot from way outside. Nothing happened. Good position right now by the Blazers. You'll see right here, he's got his man screened off well. Dennis Johnson, in his anxiety to get the ball, goes over his back and picks up a foul. The penalty situation, still a help for the Blazers. And Lionel Hollins missing his 3rd free throw in this game.
With a minute 24 to go in the first half, it's the Sonics 40 and the Blazers 40.
Very low-scoring game, Brent.
1-point lead is the result of that free throw, and Hollins' first point here in the second quarter. 14 for the game.
Got the number 1, number 2 defensive teams in the NBA playing, and this is a very low-scoring ball game.
Seals put it down, and Neal got back with a good defensive play. Davis got a lead pass for Neal, and back goes Seals on defense.
He had the man open, just didn't throw it far enough.
Johnson goes to Webster. Back now to DJ, and Davis flies across. Williams gives Seattle a second shot, and he'll take it himself. Webster gives him a 3rd opportunity. Comes up and drew the foul on Owens. That's 3 fouls on Tom Owens. That is a huge play here in Seattle. A chance for a 3-pointer, but more important, with the lead, it's 3 fouls on Tom Owens.
There's a shot coming off again. Marvin Webster, another big offensive rebound. Pumps him. The man does the one thing you cannot do. Tom Owens left his feet. Good play by Marvin Webster.
Webster hits that free throw.
That situation was not Tom's fault. Marvin got the ball. That was a long rebound. There's nothing he could have done about that. But he did leave his feet.
8 points for Marvin. Neal. Gus Williams getting to the glass. Sonics up by 2. Williams spinning inside, and Ramsey just furious that there was no traveling call against Williams that time.
He has called a foul on Gus Williams going after the ball.
Jack will take the foul instead, Rick.
There's a play right here. Here's Gus with the move. Good position by Davis. Gus with the spin move. Makes the nice play. Doesn't quite get it up high enough on the board. Going back after the ball, he was called for pushing off as Larry Steele goes to the free throw line. And that's a big break for the Blazers. Had Gus scored that basket, the momentum certainly would have switched in favor of the Sonics going in at halftime. Right now, it's about 50-50, and the Blazers have to feel good, and the Sonics have their work cut out for them here at home.
And Larry Steele, a factor in the second quarter, did not score in the first, shooting now for his 8th point. It's tied as the result of Steele, who's played guard and forward, and he has been important.
He has been important in every game. Larry Steele does not get much recognition, but he is a fine, steady ball player.
Hollins took it away from Johnson down low, so they go high. Silas, Williams, now they get it into Johnson. But away from Hollins, who's playing with that foul trouble. Johnson scrambling back up with it. Whistle underneath.
You notice Lionel Hollins on that play made sure he was not going to pick up his 4th foul. A wise move.
One against Neal, Rick, as a result.
The offensive boards hurting Portland. You heard Jack Ramsey in the huddle earlier in the game saying, block your men out. That time they did not do it. Dennis Johnson will be to the line as a result.
Johnson did not score in the first. 6 points in the second quarter. Can break the tie with 11 seconds to go here in the first half. And the second-year guard from Pepperdine does with both teams in the penalty. He can now add his second.
And now the Blazers must use the time wisely, get a good opportunity at the buzzer so that the Sonics don't get their hands on the ball and they could go in with the lead.
Watch Hollins because he can do it. They lead Davis, and Silas is there, and it'll be Davis to the basket. Silas is off. 2 seconds, Gus Williams, just across the midcourt line, off to the side. So we have come to the end of the first half of Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals. The Portland Trailblazers, without Bill Walton, down by 1. Jimmy the Greek coming up on CBS.
The NBA on CBS is sponsored by all the new 1978 Chevrolets, now at your Chevy dealers everywhere. Pepsi Cola and your local Pepsi Cola bottler. Have a Pepsi Day. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Philadelphia today eliminated the New York Knicks 112 to 105. John Havlicek was working at courtside. And after the game, Havlicek was able to talk to Billy Cunningham. Cunningham's 76ers eliminate the Knicks 4 in a row and thus advance to the next round.
Okay, with me in the 76er locker room, we have Billy Cunningham, the victorious coach, and I know that you're pleased with today. Did you think you were going to sweep them?
When we started out, no, John. You know, we went out with our objective was to just play as hard as we could. We felt the key factor was us defensively and defensive rebounding throughout the series, and I thought for the most part we did a pretty good job against them in that way because the Knicks are just such a fine offensive team.
Well, and looking forward to the next series, do you prefer anyone, or who do you think's going to win that one?
You know, as many times as you've been in the playoffs, Henry Bibby, he always does that stuff. But we're just concerned with ourselves, getting ourselves to a certain point. We're going to have at least 5-6 days off to get ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for the next series because whoever we play, it's going to be a tough series. And we have a lot of respect for each team, but we have a lot of confidence in ourselves as well.
We are back just about ready to start the second half, and Rick Barry, this is a statistical smorgasbord here.
There's no question about it, Brandon. It's incredible what's been happening. Neither team has really played that well. 22% shooting for the Sonics. Neither team has moved the ball as indicated by the assist totals. Only 8 for Portland, 5 for Seattle. Now, the two big differences in the ball game. 1 offensive rebound right now for Portland, a total of 21 rebounds. For Seattle, a total of 38, but they have 17 offensive rebounds. That has kept them in the game.
8 of them by Marvin Webster.
That's exactly right.
15 rebounds first half.
Incredible. And, of course, the other statistic that we've mentioned a great deal in the first half was from the free throw line. 11 points only for Portland, 20 points from the free throw line for Seattle. So not a well-played ball game. The team that plays the better basketball in the second half is probably going to be the one that wins in this ball game because it's been a poor first half.
Certainly a low-scoring first half, 44-43, and again, as Jack Ramsey told us prior to the start of the game, fouls would determine how he ran the world champions here in Seattle this afternoon. Series is even at a game apiece down in Portland. Seattle won the first game by 9. On Friday night, Portland with a gutty effort there in the second half without Bill Walton wins it by 3. Walton not here in Seattle this afternoon. He broke a bone, top part of the left ankle on Friday night. It went into a cast yesterday, so obviously he's lost for the rest of the series. Bobby Gross did travel here today to watch his teammates in action. Of course, he is out. So the Blazers are down to 9 men right now.
Yes, and they also have some people who are in foul trouble. They've got to watch very carefully. Dave Twardzik has 4, 3 on Hollins, 3 on Owens, and 3 on Maurice Lucas. As far as Seattle's concerned, Sikma with 3, Brown with 3, the only 2 in any kind of difficulty.
Gross was watching from the sideline as we start. The Blazers in their traveling dark uniforms with Lucas, Steele, Hollins, Owens, and Davis. Sikma fronting Davis on the defensive switch. Lucas looking in on Dennis Johnson. They finally got it to Davis. He put a little quick move on Sikma. Got away from him. Shot wouldn't go. Off to Gus Williams. It'll be Williams, Dennis Johnson, Sikma, John Johnson, and Marvin Webster. Sikma up on Steele, and with that size advantage, he buried two. That's just 4 points for Jack Sikma, who was quiet. And Silas played most of the game in the first half at that spot. Sikma now helping to front Owens. So Lucas comes to the baseline of Webster, switches, and Owens rolls from the pick. Pretty play.
Yes, it was. John Johnson tried to get over there for the weak side help, was just a little bit late. Owens was able to make the move.
Rick, the 22% you pointed out that the Sonics shot, are they taking bad shots, or is it the Portland defense?
They're taking bad shots, Brent, but the Portland defense has forced them out there to the position where they must take difficult one-on-one opportunities, just like that one.
There it is. That tells the story. They missed the shot outside, but Webster been dominating in the offensive rebounds. That's 9 for the game and 16 total rebounds. Owens went back inside to Larry Steele, who has been hustling. That's 10 points for Larry.
And that's more reminiscent of the type of offense Jack Ramsey would like to see his team executing out there. What Tom Owens must do, Brent, is just totally concentrate on Marvin Webster if he doesn't have to go and help and screen him off the board to let the other men rebound.
Johnson cuts free pretty. Johnson to Johnson.
That sounds familiar.
It's a 3-point Seattle lead. Hollins went back. Jay got a hand, but it goes to Owens. And it just rattled out. Sellout crowd in Seattle as there will be Wednesday. Dennis Johnson went down and didn't get the foul. Lenny Wilkins comes to his feet. John Johnson forced one and hit it. And he has not shot well against Portland.
As poorly as they have shot, that's 3 shots now that they made that were very tough shots. They didn't move the ball. Can you imagine how poorly they'd have been shooting if they hadn't made that?
Traveling against Steele. He came down the baseline. It's turned over.
There's the play again. Larry Steele making his move right here. Definitely moved his pivot foot before the ball hit the ground. Good call by the officials. Portland wants a timeout.
Back now in Seattle with 9:27 to go in the third quarter. I'm Glenn Musburger with Rick Berry. The Sonics leading the Blazers 52-47. Sonics Gus Williams with possession right now. Last time we heard, Milwaukee led Denver by 11 points, 71-60. Milwaukee trailing that series 0-2. Sikma is off on his shot, but JJ, and he couldn't put it down, but again the Sonics had that second shot opportunity. Davis comes to the basket for the layup and got back for the rebound, and here's Maurice with it. Again it is Hollins as the Blazers clutch to the hoop. 52-49.
I would like to think that Portland would try to take advantage of that matchup right there anytime Gus Williams switches off on Lionel Hollins. Good smart move. Lionel has the size on Gus to take him down low.
Sikma in low. Stayed with it. Second effort gave Sikma his second field goal in this quarter.
So 2 men with 3 fouls having to guard one another. Interesting matchup as it has been in the first 2 games.
Dennis Johnson fouling Hollins as he began that spin move to the basket with the Blazers down by 5.
First time in this ball game, as you see the move right there, and that really wasn't much of a push that time. We haven't seen the fouls that the officials have seen all the time in this ball game. It's the first time
that's not unusual for you,
Give me a break.
Up, Owens on the turnover. Sonics come out on the run. Hollins is back there with Johnson. JJ left alone. You know, Portland could afford to leave him alone when he wasn't shooting, but if he starts to heat up, that'll cause him even more trouble out there.
No question about it. He was only shooting 20-some-odd% in this playoff series, but if he does slide it up, they're going to have to cover him quickly.
Steele. Webster and Sikma as Seattle dominates the glass. Owens dueling Webster. Shot clock down to 10, and JJ is warm.
Giant said in the newspaper talking to the press that you have yet to hear from me in this series. I am going to come back, and that's a good way to start it right there.
And he draws Steele at the other end. Helping to front Owens. Good cut by Davis. Williams back defensively. And Gus, the man in the middle. Comes the hole. Taken out by Davis. Off quickly to Hollins. 58-49. Seattle working with its biggest lead. Lucas. Bounce to Steele, but there's a loose ball foul, and it'll go to Seattle as Twardzik and Calhoun check in for Jack Ramsey.
So with the timeout, Jack Ramsey's quite concerned. The crowd picking up on the Sonics making a move. They are up by 9.
The winner of this series meets the survivor of Denver-Milwaukee for the championship of the West. Let's go to Tim Ryan and Steve Jones for an update.
Welcome to the fans that have just joined us here in Milwaukee. You are watching Bobby Wilkerson miss, and Dan Issa will follow. The ball is poked loose, and it will be Bucks ball. They lead this game 78-68. The Bucks in white, the Nuggets in blue. Tim Ryan and Steve Jones here in Milwaukee. We have had a whale of a ball game. 4:45 remaining third period, and 10-point Milwaukee margin. Buckner. And Buckner has been a big man for the Bucks.
Again, it is important that the Denver Nuggets just maintain some type of contact. The Milwaukee Bucks are having excellent execution, and they're going with the momentum. They're really fired up by the crowd. John Gianelli is every place this afternoon. He gets another block.
Gianelli blocking Bo Ellis. And we've got 4:21 remaining here in the third period. The Milwaukee Bucks 80, the Denver Nuggets 68.
Back in Seattle, Gus Williams has just picked up his third foul, but you also missed a field goal by Gus. So it is 60-49. Seattle leading Portland. The time left in the third quarter, upper right-hand corner. 6 minutes, and the champion Blazers with possession. Lucas up on Webster. And Marvin gets back on that deep bouncing rebound.
Only 6 points of Portland so far in this quarter, Brent. They have no offense whatsoever right now.
And on the floor for Ramsey, Twardzik, Lucas, Calhoun, Owens, and Hollins. Twardzik shoots the middle and gets Owens rolling from the other side.
That was a fine pass that time by Dave Twardzik. Owens made the smart move and rolled to the hoop when he saw the big man Webster go after him.
Ramsey wants more defensive pressure applied now. It's in a 60-51 lead, 9-point difference. And there's the pressure. Johnson comes free. Owens jumps out on Lucas. Hollins to the middle.
That'll be 4 fouls on Jack Sikma. We'll watch Sikma. He's upset. We'll watch the play. Hollins sees a little bit of daylight. Knifes through 2 men. Goes up to the hoop. Sikma going after him right there. Makes contact with the body. Earl Strom had the perfect angle on the play.
And Portland can ill afford to miss free throws right now.
Lionel Hollins is a pretty good free throw shooter. He's missed 4. Make that 5 in this ball game. That's 5 very crucial points, Brent. That's taking a 4-point ball game right there.
5 minutes to go in the third. Timeout has been called by Lenny Wilkins of the Seattle SuperSonics. So it was Lenny Wilkins who took over when this team was 5-17. Now he's trying to take a lead on the world champion to the playoffs. Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, we've got the British World Invitational Gymnastics Championships and also the World Freestyle Skiing Challenge and the Off-Road Race of Champions. All next Saturday. It'll start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Twardzik assigned to Williams. It's a 60-51. Lead by the Sonics. The series tied at a game apiece. John Johnson. Where did he get that shot? I remember Herm Gilliam throwing one up like that last year when Portland was playing in Los Angeles. Did they practice those?
That's good body control, and most good athletes have it.
Webster up on Lucas. It's 3-on-2. Twardzik back to even it up. Williams from the corner. John Johnson. Let's go back and take a look at J.J. working inside.
Here goes J.J. Gets a little fake, gets Corky completely out of position, makes the move for the hoop. He goes up in the air, Didn't have the shot. He held on to it as he was going down. And as I say, sometimes it is better to be lucky than good, Brent, but it was good body control.
Deep to Williams. Silas with the pick. Hollins gets back on him. Here's Webster. Moves on Owens. Short on that left-handed hook.
Very important stage here for Portland as a foul is committed in the front court, which will be the fourth team foul. Here's the play right here. Gus Williams picking up the foul, trying to reach in, kind of pushed him a little bit with his arm.
That's 4, Rick, on Gus.
Yes, and that could be a factor. But Portland, to use the Trek terminology, they can't lose contact with the field right now, Brent.
They're trailing 251
by 11.
Down by 11 and 4-16. Calhoun hit it, but it went to Seattle. There's a swift Williams, and Webster bats at it, and Silas is there. Silas with a hook shot. 10 points for the game. Welcome now. Those of you who have been watching Milwaukee-Denver. 64-51. Seattle has taken command in the third quarter, but Gus Williams, their floor leader, has just left because of 5 personal fouls. Fouls so critical in this game with Dave Twardzik at the line. And Rick Barry, you sense that this is the moment of crisis now for Jack Ramsey and the Blazers in this game with the series tied at a win apiece.
No question about it. Portland got off to a good start with an early lead, then they flattened out a little bit. They were close at halftime, trailing by only 1. Now back to 12. Seattle in the penalty situation, only 1 foul on the Blazers, 3:57 to go. They got to try and cut it back 4-6 points, keep within touch so that they have a chance to try and pull this one out. If they lose it, they've got their problems.
Johnson and Silas, Webster, and Jaron Johnson and Freddie Brown. Brown 32 with Hollins on him. Here's the 7-1 center Marvin Webster. Owens replacing the injured Walton. And as he came into Owens, there was a whistle and a foul. That's number 4. Blazers are getting into foul trouble, something he had to avoid here. Lloyd Neal sitting on Ramsey's bench, stretched knee ligament. He's not at 100%. On the turnover, it'll go to the Blazers, who are down by 11 with 3:32 to go in the third. The foul situation again for Portland. Owens with 4, Twardzik with 4, Hollins with 3, and Lucas with 3, and Maurice has played a long time with 3. But for the Sonics, Williams with 5, Sikma with 4, Dennis Johnson and Fred Brown 3 apiece. Lucas, Hollins, Owens, Calhoun, and Twardzik on the attack. Hollins jump shot. Whittling away. The champions try to come back.
It's only 12 points so far in this half for Portland. They've got to try and stop the Sonics and score a few more points themselves if they hope to get back in this ball game and win.
Twardzik is there on Dennis. Oh, Lucas came over to help out and blocked the shot. Good defensive help by Maurice. Hollins maneuvers, and on the turnover, it's Freddie Brown. Twardzik back. Johnson 2-on-1, and Twardzik fouled in, and Twardzik does not like the call. That is 5 on Twardzik.
Twardzik not happy with that call. That is the 3rd team foul. His 5th personal foul.
90-72, I am just told. Milwaukee leading Denver after having lost the first 2 games of that series. So the Young Bucks scrambling back in Game 3. The New York Knicks eliminated today by Philadelphia. Washington took a commanding 3-1 lead over San Antonio. This series even at a game apiece with it. A 10-point difference right now. The Sonics ahead of the Blazers and 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third. Twardzik came down. It was like the Red Sea parting as it opened up. It'll go to the Sonics.
Portland has gotten inside 4 different occasions that I can remember, Brent, where they had the inside opportunity and they have failed to put it down, and it has really cost them.
Davis soon to check back in, Rick. John Johnson traveled, hesitated, moved the foot, and on the turnover, it'll go to Portland.
So now the Sonics being played a little bit by the turnovers. They had a chance to try and perhaps put this game out of reach, blow it open a little bit, so Portland gets a break. They, in turn, were making mistakes earlier, and the Sonics were capitalizing on it. Now Seattle's returning the favor.
Left side attack. Owens comes across the lane. Calhoun went for the screen. Owens will take it himself.
And they might have been able to call walking on that play right there, Brad. Looked like Owens shuffled his feet, but the official's eyes were up a little bit higher, and I don't think he really saw it.
That field goal reduces the lead to 8 points. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Webster directing it through Silas on the right, takes it back. Dennis Johnson trying to run on Lionel Hollins, make him work at the defensive end and slowing down offensively. Dennis Johnson up at the shot outside. That's 12 points for DJ.
Yeah, that was a tough shot. Lionel was all over him. Again, not many assists in this game. A lot of one-on-one situations.
Lucas. It's 8 again. 1:29 to go in the third. 67-59. Seattle leads Portland. 8 points for Lucas, so he certainly has not been as effective offensively as he was Friday night. He really took charge in the second half. Off with the rebound. He's got to carry a larger burden than ever with Walton out. Owens following up Davis for the field goal.
So they cut it back to 6 points. The Blazers have to feel very fortunate to be that close as poorly as they played in the beginning parts of this third quarter, and Seattle has to be disappointed, as I'm sure Lenny is as he paces the floor, in the way Seattle has played in the last few minutes.
One thing a good athlete cannot do is ever quit. And Portland hanging tough. Webster comes up on Owens. Tommy looks just a touch weary now as he starts down the court. 30 seconds. Back to 8. Hollins running Calhoun. Owens gave it back to Corky. He got Johnson up in the air. Battled back for his own rebound and couldn't hit it. 3 shots and couldn't hit any of them. Out comes Johnny Davis, and he was hurt. Hit up in the face as he went for control of the ball. And the whistle had sounded, and Freddie Brown is saying, wait a minute, the ball is going out of bounds. We should have it. We've got a 20-second injury timeout. And the foul's Ron Culp.
Hope that he didn't get it in the eyes. He can ill afford to lose another ball player at this stage of the playoffs. We'll watch the play as the ball comes out. You'll see Davis come into the picture from the right, come after the ball. Now watch. There's the swing right there. Doesn't get the ball. And that's where he got it. He's reacting to the hit in the face at that particular point right there. The foul is called on John Johnson.
Dr. Cook is there with the trainer, Ron Culp. The doctor, of course, has been one of the busiest positions in the NBA this year.
And he's giving quite a bit of attention. It looks like to his eyes. Let's hope it's not. It doesn't look like it's all that serious right now. I think he's going to be okay. I think Jack's giving a little coaching strategy right here, taking this opportunity to tell him what he wants done.
I'll tell you, when Portland comes to an arena now, Ron Culp was telling me they bring an ambulance in behind the team bus. That's the kind of year it has been for the Blazers. You know, last year they were injury-free as they came down the stretch in the playoffs. Walton missed some games during the regular season. If you're wondering about Walton's injury-plagued career, well, he missed the last 22 games of this regular season with surgery to relieve nerve pressure in the bottom of that right foot. Then the problem cropped up in the left foot. That was diagnosed as bursitis. So over 4 years, Bill Walton has missed a total of 119 games with Portland. That is 36% of the games, and a big factor. And we're going to have more NBA playoff action next Friday night. We'll start at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. We had an excellent game just 2 days ago. That, of course, was Portland-Seattle. Then on Sunday, we're going to have a doubleheader as our coverage of the NBA World Championship playoffs continue. Seattle, Rick, they have to be the surprise so far of the season.
Well, there's no question about that, Brent. They started off the season so disastrously, made such a complete turnaround, and have been playing excellent basketball. I think we have seen a lot of their games that this perhaps has been their poorest showing so far in playoff competition. They have not played that well except for the spurt early in the third quarter. Here's the foul situation. Twardzik with 5, Owens 4, Lucas 3, Hollins 3. The only one they really have to be concerned about there is Owens. And Gus Williams with 5. That could be a big factor in this game going into the fourth quarter. Sikma with 4, also a big situation. Brown, Dennis Johnson, not much factor at this stage of the game.
5 team fouls, Rick, in the third quarter against the Sonics and 3 against the Blazers. And Davis coming to the free throw line after the foul.
And so the fouls finally not hurting the Blazers. They were plagued by them in the first 2 quarters. In fact, it was the free throws that gave them the opportunity to have the 1-point lead at halftime.
And Seattle has hit 21 of 30 from the line, and Portland 13 of 20. Make it 14 of 21. And back to 7.
Now, if the Blazers can stop the Sonics from scoring these last 8 seconds, and again another missed free throw. Oh, how crucial. They can stop them here. They've done a pretty good job considering how poorly they played in most of this third quarter.
Brown will take it on the run, and he banks it in. Freddie Brown hits the field goal as time runs out on the third quarter. The Blazers knew he was going to be the man. John Johnson gave him the pick, and he came all the way around it, Rick. Be sure and stay tuned for the MVP award at the conclusion of the game. And Rick, a candidate has to be Marvin Webster. 20 rebounds already. His career high is 29. Seattle warmed up a touch there in the third quarter. They hit 50% and Portland 34.
Yes, Marvin Webster has been a big factor in this ball game. If you take a look at him with Tom Owens guarding him closely, he's just gotten everything off both defense and offensive boards.
71-62 as we begin the final quarter. Wow. Maurice Lucas jockeying for possession underneath Webster, and Silas are there, and Lucas has picked up number 4.
Yes, and Maurice is not happy with that call at all, and he better be careful because if he gets his 5th, Portland will be in big, big trouble. They already are in trouble right now.
Webster taken down by Paul Silas. Seattle continues its domination. The offensive rebound. Silas went to the offhand. It's off. Hollins to run it down. And Lionel crashes over here. Oh, right over here on our table. Lionel Hollins back up now. So Lionel came flying right across the table. Everybody's all right. Nobody's hurt over here.
Especially Lionel. Yeah, well, you were already hurt. Remember that.
All right. 71-62 and offense. 11 minutes and 4 seconds.
Here's the play right here. Again, Fred Brown, who likes to draw inside. That was probably closer to a blocking foul than the one they called in the first half.
Owens outside on Silas. 71-64. Portland is staying within striking distance, Rick. Brown down the baseline. Pretty move. Now it is Hollins up. Yanked down by Webster. Lloyd Neal will soon check in. The tempo has increased in Seattle. Inside to Freddie Brown again. And it is showtime for Freddie Brown. 10 points.
Quickly calling timeout, Frank. This is the way Seattle wants to play. This is the type of basketball that enabled them to get the lead early in the third quarter. Jack Ramsey knows it. He's got to do something to counteract it. Well, the crowd was really reacting, Brent Tolman, as Steve Martin would say. There's some wild and crazy fans here in Seattle.
I put a curfew on you last night. You were up late watching TV. All right, 10 minutes and 17. You weren't very good at that, I have to tell you. Steve's job is not in jeopardy. Hollins maneuvering now on DJ. Missed everything and Webster's off, and they're alive in Seattle. Cross-court, it's Dennis Johnson from Freddie Brown. Cut back by DJ. Stays with it. It's out of bounds. It'll go to Portland.
Oh, that transition again, almost very costly. Dennis Johnson with an easy opportunity, missed it. The big break for Portland, down by 11.
Davis gliding in. Hit that one going at an angle. 9:45 left, 75-66. And again, Portland outgunned with the absence of Gross and the absence of Walton. But they're still there within striking distance looking for a run. Buddy Brown. He feels it. That one was not from downtown. He was right in the center of the city that time. 77-66. T.R. Dunn will soon see his first action. One shot for the Blazers. Silas. John Johnson goes back over to Freddie Brown. Threw it up going out of bounds. Lead to Davis at 3-on-1. Here's Owens, but it is Webster who is the one. Now the Sonics are back. Lloyd Neal. Soon will come in. It'll be 5-on-5. 8 on the shot clock. They got Webster up in the air, and boy, he stood there. Rick, he didn't want that foul. Yanked down now by Dennis Johnson.
You don't think the adrenaline is flowing in this Seattle team with the way the crowd is responding to it. It's amazing what a difference it makes to have the people yelling for you, Brent. That's what the home court advantage is really all about.
Let it down. John Johnson.
So mechanical error. The rebound was there. He mishandled the ball. 2 more points for the Sonics. They open it up to 13.
Beginning now to seize daylight. Welcome, those of you who have been watching Milwaukee, Denver. Here in Seattle, the SuperSonics have eased into a commanding position with 8 minutes and 4 seconds left, and this series all even at a game apiece. And so, talent beginning to show. The absence of Bill Walton. We always talk about Walton. How about the other fellow sitting over there on the bench? Bobby Gross.
No question about it, Brent. I voted for him as the 3rd player for the most valuable player of the playoffs last year. He's a very, very fine basketball player in all departments, and they miss him dearly.
But in fairness to Seattle, as Twardzik pops one up for Portland, even if Walton and Gross were healthy, I think this would be a tough series. The SuperSonics have really come alive under Lenny Wilkins.
It's really a shame that Bill and the rest of the players aren't, because this could have been even better basketball and better competition than what we've been seeing so far.
John Johnson went inside to Freddie Brown. Brown just can't wait to shoot it right now the last 2.5 minutes. Dunn goes to Maurice Lucas. 7:22. Time in Seattle's favor. Lucas battling back to save it. Went out of bounds.
So again, that outside touch of Maurice suffering with the injury to his wrist.
Lenny Wilkins red hot here in Seattle. They are 27-3 in the Seattle Center Coliseum since Wilkins left his job as the director of player personnel and became the coach.
14 straight they've won so far in this building.
He has not yet publicly said whether he will be back next year to coach. That's a very interesting story. When he told Sam Schulman that he would take over, he said, but under one consideration, I could have my old job back at the end of the year. It's too early now for Lenny to talk about it. Those who are closest to him tell me they think he'll be back next season as Dunn reaches in on John Johnson and commits the foul.
There's the play here, trying to get the ball in. Dunn in his anxiety to try to knock it away, goes over the man's back, picks up his first personal foul, 3rd team foul.
Screen Webster, but he didn't. Webster was rolling to the hoop strong, but he didn't need to as Johnson hit it.
And Johnny Johnson has found the range here in the second half.
Lucas, Webster is there, and Silas. And Paul Silas has contributed some mighty minutes. He's back on the attack, and he had a hand, and he pulls it down. Silas hustling from one end to the other. The crowd on his feet in Seattle. They can now sense the kill. 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. 81-68, Sonics lead it. That's the 3rd foul on Lloyd Neal. 5 on Twardzik, 4 on Owens, 3 on Neal, 3 on Hollins, and 4 on Lucas.
And again, the Blazers will be in a penalty situation on their next foul. Still 6 minutes to go in this fourth and final quarter.
Wow, and on that move again going out of bounds, as Steele draws number 4. Young Jack Sikma has been on the bench, and the importance of the NBA of role players. Paul Silas can come in and fill in for Sikma. and do such a good job here this afternoon.
Yes, and Jack Sikma with a towel draped around his shoulder. Not much of a factor in this game. Paul Silas filling in admirably. Joe Hassett sitting next to him hasn't seen any action in this playoff competition. But yes, you must play roles, Brent. If you expect to win an NBA competition, a world championship, you must have players who are willing to sacrifice their own personal goals to fulfill the needs of the team. And that is not an easy thing to find, and it's not easy to find players who are willing to do that.
It's 83-68. 6 minutes and 5 seconds left in Seattle. Game 4 will be back in Seattle Wednesday night. Blocked by Webster as he rejected Steele's shot. Johnson bringing it up, goes to Fred Brown. Sonics running the clock down, using the 24 seconds. Now they go inside of 10 seconds on the shot clock. Nursing the lead. JJ is red hot. The former Blazer has now scored 16 points. By far his best game in the playoffs so far. Jack Ramsey lost a timeout.
Yes, and all 16 of those points have come in the second half when he had no points. Jack's quite concerned. His team had gotten off to a good start. Now they're falling behind. The confidence is really building for the Seattle SuperSonics.
Another surprise team, the young Milwaukee Bucks of Don Nelson. Let's go to Tim Ryan and Steve Jones and see how the Denver game is coming along.
Welcome to the fans that have just joined us here in Milwaukee. The Bucks in white, the Nuggets in blue. It has been Marcus Johnson Day at the Milwaukee Arena. 34 points, and he has been a presence at both ends of the court. That's number 35. Let's look at the one he just made that led to that foul.
Right there, no pressure on him. He just waltzes by, and Bo Ellis does the wrong thing as he's swinging by and he tries to reach in.
Tom Lagarde in for Denver, 126 to 104. We've got 3:30 remaining here in regulation time. Alex English over Wilkerson. 128 to 104 with 3:20 to go.
And in Seattle, 5 minutes and 8 seconds left. He missed a field goal by Larry Steele. And Lionel Hollins picked up his 4th personal foul. That's why Freddie Brown is at the line. 86-70. I'm Brent Musburger with Rick Barry. This series is even at a game apiece. And game 4 will be Wednesday night.
Portland's got to try and get something going here to get their own confidence back for the next ball game. They're in a very difficult situation right now as far as this game is concerned. And if they allow the Sonics to totally dominate the rest of the way, they're going to have a difficult time being properly prepared for that game coming up on Wednesday. Seattle, meanwhile, has to try and not allow that to happen, to keep the edge psychologically on Portland.
Owens will check back in. Twardzik down there, dueling Johnson there. Little David came up with it.
That's great defense by the little guy with the man 6'4".
And he's something to watch. Steele again. Now that's the same spot he hit the field goal while you were away checking in on Denver, Milwaukee. 4:20, 87-72. Webster back to help out Brown. Here's DJ. So those two Iowa teammates, Freddie Brown and John Johnson, have done well, and Webster also. That's 14 points for Marvin.
Marvin, not the biggest fellow in the world as far as size, but he sure does a heck of a job on the boards. He's tall, but he's not very big bulk-wise.
DJ partially blocked it. Sonics, Freddie Brown saying, all right, let's use some of the time now. We're in command. 3 minutes and 40 seconds, 89-72. Sonics. Jack Sikma is there. Neil watching in. John Johnson wants no time at all. He said, this is my afternoon.
Yeah, he's been a real thorn in the side of the Portland Trailblazers in the game. Jack Ramsey wants a timeout to try and stop things here. I think he's going to give some people a chance to get a rest. This game is just about out of reach right now. They don't have much they can do.
That's the time left in Game 3, but I think that Rick Barry has made the telling comment about the Portland Trailblazers. it's important for them to feel that they can come back in Game 4 on Wednesday night should they lose this. Now, Portland is not going to stay in Seattle. They're going to return home and work out there and then return for that game Wednesday night.
What has really caused them a problem, Brent, it caused them a problem in the first game that they lost back at home, was that they did not come down and execute their offense. They took quick shots. They were not making them. They shot a poor percentage. Seattle, meanwhile, dominated the defensive board, got the transition game going very good, were able to score some points and had a run in the third quarter, and then they had that run again at the start of the fourth quarter, and that has been the difference in the ball game thus far.
And 16 second-half points for number 27, John Johnson, formerly of the Portland Trail Blazers. 91-72. The countdown begins in Game 3, and I'll tell you, Twardzik has hustled, hasn't he? Lucas. But credit Dave Twardzik with getting in there and drawing a crowd. Dunn and Twardzik will work it in the backcourt. Lucas, Calhoun, and Owens up front. As Game 3 winds down. John Johnson just pulling up and throwing them in right now.
Brent, I want to tell you something. When you get that kind of a feeling, you think that anything you throw up there is going in. That was a fadeaway jump shot from 18 feet.
He didn't even look at the hoop. He just came up.
It's a great feeling, believe me. It's a great feeling. Great feeling to have as a player.
Yeah, I've seen you warm to that task too. George Gervin, man, he can do the same thing. Here's John.
George Gervin does it as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Boy. Hey, he had a great fourth quarter in Oakland this year. What did he hit against you? About 12 or 13 in that overtime game?
That's right.
DJ checking the clock. Time running down. Seattle shooting for that 2-1 series lead. They break off a Sikma. Webster couldn't control, and it's Dunn back for the Blazers. Interesting thing Rick has done. Goes to the hoop. He's a draft choice this year. Well, they left Webster alone. Whoa! Marvin rattled the building.
Well, Marvin, I think, did that one for the fans.
Also for the MVP award. He says, listen, I can't let John Johnson steal it from me.
Well, Johnny's had a great second half, but Marvin has been such a factor in their entire playoff series. He deserves it without question.
Now, Rick, as I was saying about T.R. Dunn in Portland, of course, the draft will be coming up at the end of the playoffs. And Portland right now possesses 3 first-round draft choices. They will have picks number 3, number 7, and number 22.
Well, if they can get the big fella healthy again next year, they will be heard from again. You can rest assured on that.
Hey, there's Joe Hassett. We were with him last night in the Kingdome watching Seattle play against the Oakland A's. Calhoun hits outside and Webster rebounds. Brown again slowing things up. Welcome now the Milwaukee-Denver crowd. Seattle about to take a series lead of 2-1 on the world champion Portland Trail Blazers. We have 1:18 left. It is 95-78. Joe Hassett has come in for the first time in this series as Lenny Wilkins now goes to a little of the four corners attack. And Rick Barry, why don't you go over again for the crowd that's joined us some of the differences here?
Well, the difference has been, Brent, the fact that Seattle was able to play their type of basketball early in the third quarter and early in the fourth quarter as Twardzik drives in, and that's been the story all afternoon long. They have not been able to capitalize on those easy shots as Owens hustles to get one back in. And Portland was coming downward, executing their offense. They didn't move the ball. They took quick shots. They were missing. Marvin Webster got everything off the board. They got it up the floor quickly and had 2 spurts to turn the game around.
Owens with the foul, and of course he's filled in for Bill Walton today, and there's Gus Williams.
He has been sitting on the bench with 5 fouls, and he had a fine game up until that point. Seattle is going to be very difficult to beat in the game Wednesday night, Brent. Their confidence has certainly soared in this basketball game after the second half letdown they had back in Portland. A lot of credit to the Portland team for that effort, and they're going to have to come up with a 48-minute effort like they did for 24 minutes the other night if they expect to win on Wednesday.
Well, they focused the spotlight over there on the Sonics bench. Brown at the free throw line, and Rick with Milwaukee winning. They've climbed back into it. They trail Denver now 2-1. Next game will be in Milwaukee. The Knicks eliminated today, and Washington goes up 3-1 on San Antonio. And time ticking away on the champions with Gus Williams coming in as the ball handler just to wrap it up.
And the only reason Gus is coming in the game, it shows you Lenny Wilkins wanted to give Freddie Brown a chance to get a hand from the hometown fans for the fine game he played here in the second half.
Now Fleming seeing some of his first action. And Owens drawing Seals into a foul. Rick, we might as well go ahead and make it official now that the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player Award will go to Marvin Webster of the Seattle SuperSonics, and I think Rick Barry has told you all the reasons why. He was devastating rebounding in both halves. And so the Chevrolet $1,000 scholarship is going to be awarded to Morgan State on behalf of Marvin Webster. We talk a lot about Lenny Wilkins wanting so badly to beat Portland as UCR MVP, Marvin Webster. Well, Marvin Webster is looking forward to a possible shot at Denver. Remember, Denver traded Marvin to Seattle for this season. And here's Joe Hassett, Providence. Seals and Wally Walker. So it's bench time, and it's 99-82. The Sonics hold the Blazers to 84 points. Game is over in the final score. Seattle 99 and Portland 84, and the Sonics leading the series 2-1. Now, up until Friday night, the Sonics had held their opponents under 100 points 27 times under Lenny. They'd won all 27 of those games, and of course, on Friday night, they held Portland under 100, but they lost. But here this afternoon, they come right back to it. So 29 times, Seattle's defense has held their opposition under 100, and on 28 times, they have come away victorious. So we talk a lot about how Lenny Wilkins has changed the lineup and how they have played offensively, but don't overlook the defensive turnaround. Now, under Lenny Wilkins, they had an opening day lineup of Paul Silas and Bruce Seals at forward, Mike Green at center, and Fred Brown with Slick Watts in the backcourt. And, of course, that has changed entirely. All 5 of those men have been replaced. They have got Silas coming off the bench. Mike Green has been traded. Freddie Brown comes off the bench, and Slick Watts is traded. So it's a remarkable story, and it continues. And now with the injury to Bill Walton and Bobby Gross, the Sonics are in a commanding position here in the semifinal of the Western Conference playoffs. And directly in front of me, Freddie Brown being congratulated by the owner, Sam Schulman, and Rick Barry is moving out there to him. We're going to be able to get a word from Freddie here in a moment. He came in and gave us a marvelous show. 18 points for Freddie was his final total. All right, let's go to Rick now and Freddie Brown.
Okay, Freddie, you guys are playing super basketball. What do you think your chances are right now?
Well, you know, I liked our chances when we came into the series, you know, because we were playing super basketball at the end of the season. And, you know, I'd bet on us if I was a bet man.
Freddie, what is it that has turned the Seattle Ball Club around? I mean, you fellas get off such a poor start, and now you're playing great basketball as a team.
Communication, hard work, and determination with a team effort, you know. That's what we've been doing all year after we had the change, and we've been continuing doing it, and it's been a success for us, and we're going to continue to do it throughout the playoff series.
Thanks a lot, Freddie, and continued success.
Thank you, Rick.
Let's go back to Brett now.
Thank you, Rick. And along with Fred Brown, Marvin Webster totaled 16 points, and he pulled down 23 rebounds. Gus Williams with 15 points. He was lethal there in the first quarter of this basketball game. In the second half, of course, he got himself into foul trouble, so he didn't do that much. Freddie Brown totaling the 18, Marvin Webster with the 16, Dennis Johnson with 12, John Johnson with 18 second half points, and that's a marvelous story because even during the regular season, he had not done that well for the Portland Trail Blazers. And let me credit now our producer, Bob Stenner, and also our director, Tony Werner, for their marvelous job not only here this afternoon, but also on Friday night. And, of course, next Friday night, we'll be working with them, too, as our coverage of the NBA playoffs continues right here on CBS. So it has been the kind of an afternoon in Seattle. The SuperSonics come home after a disappointing loss for them Friday night in Portland because after the injury to Walton, they thought they had the game wrapped up. But, of course, they were just a bit overconfident. And so for Rick Barry and Jimmy the Greek. This is Brent Musburger saying goodbye from the Seattle Center Coliseum. Again, the final score, Seattle 99, Portland 84. And remember, our NBA playoff coverage continues with the telecast next Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The CBS Sports Spectacular will feature 3 events: the British World Invitational Gymnastics Championship, the World Freestyle Skiing Challenge, and the Off-Road Race of Champions. And of course, Sunday, an NBA World Championship playoff doubleheader starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so please be with us. The NBA on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports. Have a nice day, everyone.